The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
Pillow fight, pillow fight.
This is so fun.
Pillow fighting.
Why is it so fun?
Pillow fight.
Hi everyone, it's me, Yamini. If you like Pillow Fight, please be sure to give it a follow, and if you listen on Apple Podcasts, rate and review it. That would mean the world to me. Enjoy the episode, and thank you so much for listening to Pillow Fight.
If you're following me on literally any platform, you probably know just how much I poop. And let me tell you, wiping your butt raw with toilet paper does not remove all the shit that's sitting on it. Thankfully, there's now a sleek bidet attachment that clips onto your existing toilet and sprays your butt completely clean with fresh water. It's called Tushy, and it's the best thing you can do for your butt. Tushy sprays directly to your ass and removes the poop completely, so you aren't sitting on bacteria that leads to nasty things like hemorrhoids, yeast infections, UTIs, and itchy assholes. And a Tushy bidet cuts toilet paper use by 80%, so it pays for itself in just a few months. Join millions of happy Hello Tushy customers, including me, right now, and have a clean butt with every flush. Go to hellotushy.com/yams to get 10% off your order. That's hellotushy.com/YAMZ.
Pillow fight, pillow fight.
Is yours made of goose?
We got feathers flying everywhere.
Mine's made of goose.
Pillow fight, pillow fight.
This is so fun.
Pillow fighting.
Why is it so fun?
Pillow fight.
Today on Pillow Fight, I'm joined by Pallavi Gunalan, a scientist and comedian who currently writes for the Love It or Leave It podcast. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Pallavi Gunalan and check out her Imposter Bear web cartoon on both of those sites as well. On this episode of Pillow Fight, we talk talented white women, himbo culture, and dating deal breakers.
Fuck. Marry. Kill. Fuck, marry, kill.
The first option is number one. In January, a Democratic rep in Tennessee introduced a bill to create a statue in Nashville honoring Dolly Parton. And she today said that she didn't want the legislators to enact that bill. She wanted to put a stop to it, given all that's going on in the world. And she said, maybe someday, another time, maybe when I'm dead, you can put up the statue then, but not right now. Number two, last week, Taylor Swift released her first of many re-recorded songs with the Taylor's version of Love Story. And she's doing this to get back control of her own songs after her master recordings were sold to Scooter Braun. And in April, she is set to re-release her entire album, Fearless. Number three, after the Free Britney documentary, a judge denied Britney's father increased power over her affairs, which isn't a total victory for her, but definitely a sign that things are going to get better because the courts are trusting her father less. So those three ongoing events in the world, Dolly Parton doesn't want her statue, Taylor Swift re-recording her songs, and Britney Spears' promising future fuck, marry, kill. What would you do?
Okay, I would fuck Taylor Swift's songs because I'm gonna have fun with it and listen to it, but I might not listen to it forever or something. Mm-hmm. I would marry Dolly Parton rejecting her own statue because I love Dolly Parton and she fucking knows her place as a white woman and an ally, and she helped pay for the vaccine, so good for her. And then I would kill the outcome of that because it's not good enough for me what happened with Britney, and also fuck the justice system. It's not working and it needs to go faster, and fuck the police. And that's why I would say fuck that whole situation.
You'd kill it.
Oh, sorry, I'd kill it. Yeah. Kill this. See, for me, a lot of it's tied in together with love and fucking and murder. No, I'm kidding.
These are all three, powerful, or at one point powerful white women in music. I like all three to varying degrees. I would also marry Dolly Parton's turning down the statue because, I think she is doing a much better job for our country than most of the legislators that we have voted into office. I think she has made bigger contributions to this country than several presidents. I think that she just isn't doing it for any sort of reason other than wanting to help and knowing that she has the power to, which that's what this proved. And it's she's a baller and she's got range. Does all these kind of things. She She wrote Jolene. She was in Hannah Montana. You know, she's got every generation is like hip to Dolly Parton. You know, she's for everyone.
Yeah. She's like Betty White in that way. They both have had like these long spanning prolific careers, but I feel like, yeah, Dolly Parton, I want that energy long-term from white women. So I would marry that.
She should teach a master class to white women about how to not be white women.
Yeah. Put down your phone, Karen. You don't need to, you're using up your rollover minutes. Is that still a thing? I don't know if that's still
rollover minutes.
Yeah.
Rollover minutes is such a funny concept. The idea of minutes is also just so dystopian to me.
It reminds me of like the AOL cards or the CDs that we used to use to log on to the internet, but for your phone.
I never did this.
I know you didn't, but I did.
But I remember these things vaguely. The only reason that I really know what a floppy disk is because when I was a kid, my brother cut his finger on one and had to go to the emergency room.
So you use floppy disks as a villain in your life.
Well, I didn't hurt
as
him.
A weapon against you.
I didn't. Yeah, it hurt. He was just like playing around
and your family.
Himself. Yeah,
you're like a floppy disk killed my brother. So now I need to make the internet accessible to everyone.
People are afraid of having guns in their home. There's a lot of weapons. Like, okay, yeah, guns are scary in your home. I'm not trying to say they're not, but there's a lot of weapons in your home that you don't suspect. It's not just knives. It's not just flames.
You have to have the floppy disk conversation if you're going to marry someone. You have to. Old technology is terrifying. Okay.
It is. It really is. Like, especially looking back, it's so freaky looking too. Computers always they were huge. It took up like a whole room at one point. And they were slow and you couldn't do that much on them. I think I would kill Taylor Swift recording all of her songs, not because like I feel positively about it. I just think like as a consumer, I'd rather her make more new music than rehash all the old things. And that's like, I understand why she wants to do it. But like, to me, it's not a fuck or a marry. It's just kind of happening. And I'm not pro killing anything or anyone, you know, I don't want to do it. But in this game, I have to choose it.
In this game that you made us play.
Yes.
I want to emphasize.
Yes. I love fuck, marry, kill because it forces you to like really make decisions.
Yeah.
And I would fuck the Free Britney situation because like you said, it's not enough. It's not enough for me to marry it. It's like not happening yet, but I would fuck it and maybe like down the line, like we could see where things go. And it could be something that I grow to love. And it could be something that I like really fucking hate and shit talk all the time. I have like that glimmer of hope for her.
Yeah. I definitely have a lot of hope for her.
I think that the Taylor Swift thing, that's great that she's able to like reclaim her music. I think it's like for her and her fans. It's like not really but
I think it's also like if those recordings get a lot of support, then it's a fuck you to Scooter Braun and that like part of the system that tries to take power from the artist, which is a huge problem, especially in our industry. And
I think so that's also, go on.
That's like the positive I think from it is that her fans can show her support. And I mean, she's fine in terms of like how much money she's making. Yeah. But I think just like the precedent that it sets for like upcoming artists. I think even like Megan Thee Stallion was in a bad situation in a contract because we sign shit all the time where we're like, I don't know, I just want this money. Like, I just want to do this show. I just want to do this thing. I can't afford a lawyer.
It's happened a lot of times. Like Kesha was stuck in that contract with Dr. Luke and it's definitely bad. I think that's also like the Taylor Swift thing and the Britney thing are like sort of like two sides of the same coin where it's like this industry really like mistreating like women and particularly just like, I don't know, like feeling like an ownership over their careers and personas. Like they don't get to be like their own people because there's like always being watched and consumed and used for profit.
It's like crazy because like I'll look at situations that are in my proximity of like shitty guys that I just like don't want to be successful because they're horrible to women or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I got to get funny. I got to get successful. And then I'm going to like make sure these dudes don't come anywhere near my bitches. Like, but then at the same time, you see Taylor Swift and Britney Spears and Janet Jackson not be able to control their own narrative. And those are the most powerful women in their field, especially at the time at which this stuff was happening. And you're like, well, fuck, like, what can I do? You know, how many Twitter followers do we need to get? Yeah. Like, how many do we need to get?
This is so silly to say, but I have had this pattern of events happen recently where like someone will wrong somebody that I care about, and I will really think about how they don't deserve the platform they have. And then something will happen in like karmically in the world where they kind of get stuck. Like there were people who like had way more of a platform than I did like just a few months ago. And I'm now watching them just be stuck there. And, you know, you and I both know.
Do you have my voodoo doll somewhere? Because I feel stuck. Where is it?
I will put out good vibes for you.
Please use your powers for good for me.
Yeah, I'm putting out positive vibes too. So I'll put them out for you. But yeah, there's 3 people in particular who I have negatively willed.
You've got this like Arya Stark shit down. You're just restating their names in your head over and over again as you go through your journey, and they are just being felled by you. Like,
I don't know how to explain this, and I think it's truly probably just very much a coincidence, but anyone who I've ever like thought has done something wrong that has like really personally hurt me, or somebody I care about, like me and the people I care about have always done better than them
in the long term. Yeah. That's how I feel. Like anytime I see someone who is like more successful than me in terms of like, I don't know, followers or credits or whatever, and I find out they're a bad person, I immediately don't give a shit about their platform, because I'm like, this shit's gonna catch up with you. Even if it doesn't catch up with you like the way that I want it to, it's going, like, I know you're a bad person, so I don't give a shit about you anymore. I don't care how successful you get, how many fans you have, how many people like love your stuff or think you're a genius. I know you're a bad person, and that takes all the air out of it for me. If you can't be good, then like, I don't care about your success or whatever.
Totally. And it's also like, if you're going to be a bad person, you should be smart enough to not go put yourself in a place where you have a huge platform. Like you are cursing yourself, because it's going to come out. If you are trying to optimize being a bad person, which nobody should do, you'll be like cut from all of society's graces, as opposed to just like a few people, you know? Yeah.
Being able to go like restart somewhere else, which is also bad. I know there was like one like sociopath that I knew who was like, he was a real bad guy. And he was like, yeah, I'm trying to stay at this level so I can take advantage of women at this level and stuff. Like he told other people this, and I was like, it makes sense, but also he's like really dumb. Like he was like a dumb sociopath. So he was bad, but he couldn't rise up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know how they're like sociopaths are like the CEOs of companies. I'm like, he didn't get all of that in the package. But thank God he didn't, because then he would have wielded more power.
He didn't pay for premium.
I know.
Yeah. I've been like noticing this a lot on Twitter lately. Just like people sometimes like have been called out, and then like they have started new platforms. Like people I will have been following for a while, like it'll come out like that they used to do X on another platform and took advantage of people there, and it's finally just caught up to them here. And it's like crazy just how much people like keep trying to replatform themselves after they've been deplatformed, which I think is interesting. Were you following this whole Find Psy thing?
Yeah, I saw that. It was disappointing, but it was also very confusing for me because it didn't feel like any facts were like locked down. But I barely, like, I just kind of grazed past it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I was like following it the night that it was happening. And then in the morning I saw like their friend had posted like they're fine. And then
so Psy was a trans Black woman who there was a video of her like crying out for help and saying there was somebody trying to get her or something. And it was like in the dark, and it was like very scary, and it looked like she'd been kidnapped.
And so people were like trying to figure out location and like calling the police and trying to investigate that whole situation. And people were raising money for Psy while this was happening in a GoFundMe. And then the next day, like about 24 hours later, the close friend who had been reporting the whole thing was like, this all was a scam. Like they were hiding in their friend's apartment, like pretending
in the closet or something, right?
Yeah. So that people would donate more money. And it was wild because like the hashtag was filled with that information, but it was also simultaneously filled with other people being like, Psy still hasn't been found, like donate to the GoFundMe. There's so much there that it's like how you can't really know what's going on.
Yeah, it's really hard to pin stuff down.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like everybody turned against this person very quickly once that other person confirmed that it was fake.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I don't know what happened. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that person either. Everybody, I don't know who could be lying in that situation.
Yeah. I just feel bad because I know it's going to make it harder for like other, especially Black trans women to like use Twitter as a crowdfunding platform. And a lot of people do. They already aren't taking that seriously. So that's like shitty. And it's shitty that like anyone had to go to this length to be able to, you know, have money to like for basic, like, there's so much stuff that's happening on the internet. So many people are not who they say they are.
Even within friend groups, they're like dudes who are gross, who are like interacting with like multiple women and like, or, you know, or lying to whatever. And that's like the vanilla end of it. You know, that's like they're sleazy, but everybody knows they're sleazy, or like, I don't know, but it's fine. Then there's like the bigger, you know, people who use it for a lot more like, I don't want to say a lot more, but like more greedier ends, I guess. Like they are just trying to gain like power and money, and so because of that, they keep like trying to like level up and take advantage of people, and it sucks. It really sucks. And it's hard to, I like what you do on all of your tweets. You're like always tagging everybody, and you're putting like GoFundMe's and your mutual aid things. And
after I graduated college, I was in a sorority, and I was like, I gotta find some way to put this to like this experience to good use. So I last summer was doing so many like Instagram fundraisers, like the kind where it's like the bingo or like the polls or whatever, and they Venmo.
Oh wow, I had no idea. I haven't done that.
If we mobilized sorority girls, like we could truly fund anything we wanted. Like I think that we should start like a national program to radicalize sorority girls across the country, because they know how to plan an event, they know how to raise money, like they know how to like market and like attract the right people. And I think that it really would do a lot of good for society.
This might be insulting. I never had Greek life in my undergrad, but would you say, I feel like the himbo thing is like a huge thing right now. Would you say like they're like the lady himbos? Because I feel like that's a stereotype of it, is they're like they're just like into partying or whatever, but they're also like, a lot of them are very like approachable and stuff.
I think that I went to college with less of those people just because I went to like a smart school. So everyone was inherently like pretty smart, but there were a lot of people who were smart, but like book smart, but kind of like dumb in terms of like life.
We had that at our school too. Yeah.
Those people were very much there and like just make bad decisions while they were out. And it was just like, ha 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 ha, whatever about it. And like, they're very nice usually. But what's funny to me is the term lady himbo, because himbo comes from bimbo. It's just
but it means something different, I think.
Yes, because bimbo is meant to be mean to women, but himbo is like a term of endearment.
This is a thing that I wanted to talk about, because they're like, anything that they've used for women, as soon as it translates to men, it's good. So it's like the mom body versus dad bod, himbo, like, or like, you know, bimbo versus himbo. Like it's all of these things that have been like, as soon as it's male, it's like a positive and like nostalgic and sweet and whatever adjective. And I'm like, no, let's be mean to them again.
It's this very weird idea that like something being attached to masculinity makes it inherently.
It's weird. It's almost like if it's their choice and they had control and they like, you know, they decided to do this, well, then that's still like masculine or something, you know, but that's, and it's also like, why do we care about what's masculine? Like I do it. I'm guilty of it too. Like I'm bi and I still want to date a man, destroy him, and then move on to ladies. You know what I mean? Like I want my revenge first. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing with women, unless you're a wonderful woman listening to this, in which case I'm incredible. but I mean, like, it's hard. Like every interaction that I saw in public as a child growing up in Utah in an Indian family, like those were all heterosexual things. Yeah.
You know what I used to hate so much was when people would go on American Idol or sing covers of stuff and they would sing like,
yes,
the like sing like if they're a woman, they would like sing a male love song to a woman and they would change the pronouns to he. And it would drive me absurd. It's like, how insecure are you? Like, you need to assert to me your head, like just sing the song the way that it was written. Like, it's so uncomfortable. to me.
And then the guys would change it to make it about a woman. And it's just like, you picked that song because it moved you. Like, you don't have to, this doesn't have to be like
About
your
you.
full experience.
Yeah.
It could be for other people too. But
Yeah.
I don't know, that's like another thing that's interesting, since we were talking about like Taylor Swift. There's like queer baiting rumors.
There's a kind of Taylor Swift fan who just like really believes that she is gay.
I remember like not the last album, but was it Folklore, where she had songs in the, like, she was singing to, there was like 2 women and 1 man or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh my God, she's like, Twitter was going off like, she's gay, like blah, blah, blah. And I listened to the songs and I'm like, no, this is a character. And it's also like not even queer. Like what, like if you listen to the lyrics, it's not queer at all. I was just like, this doesn't make everybody just got really excited. I think we've all decided I have personally decided Rihanna's just doing something else, and that's fine. She's building her empire and doing all sorts of things, and we can't demand this of her anymore.
She gave us a lot of great music while she was doing it, and I don't feel like she owes us anything besides doing what she wants. And it's fun if she drops 1 or 2 songs every now and then, like that would be cool. She doesn't have to even make a whole album. She's doing all this cool stuff. Like she has Savage, Fenty, and all these other things going on, and
she's bringing brown girls makeup that's not just from CVS.
Yeah.
That's like, her foundation was the first one that like really worked for me, and I'm old.
Rimmel London was a particular brand that never had dark shades, and I was like, do they just not? They have so many brown people in the UK. Like, why?
Oh yeah.
Have you stopped the shades here?
Anytime I see that, I'm like, whenever people recently are like, oh, we need to tap into this into brown people, I'm like, we've been around. How bad at business are you? You've been so bad at business for hundreds of years. Like, this is just completely a display of your incompetence. Yeah, you're racist. We know that, whatever. But also you're bad at your job.
They're bad at their jobs also because Black and brown and Asian, all sorts of like POC, like women in particular, have like an extra high beauty standard upon them in the US and in Western cultures. They're probably more likely to buy your makeup if they feel like it caters.
We are more shallow. It's rude of you to think we're not as shallow, if not more, than white women. I feel like I fit into like the nerd archetype too. Like, I wanted to be a nerd so bad, and I like felt bad if I didn't play chess like my friends did, and I like didn't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but I was like around it all, and I was like, oh, I'm not like nerdy enough to be a nerd. And then I was like really misogynist, especially in like college, and I'd be like, I don't do that girly shit, I don't wear makeup, like whatever. And then after college I was like, you're a misogynist, like what are you doing? And I like went around and I like apologized to my more femme friends who like I said that shit in front of, because I was just like trying to be in the boys club and like trying to be whatever. So I think it's like, I don't know, it's really cool to me that you're like everything, you know, like you do everything, and you're not afraid to be like really femme, and you're not afraid to like, you know, have strong opinions on things, and like stand and like, you know, you just take from like all the different energies, and I love it.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I never honestly really liked men as people, and until I don't know, like I have very few like cishet male friends, especially white ones. Like I have very few. Most of my male friends are like some form of queer. So I think it's also hard for me to accept that I was attracted to them, because I didn't really like them as like a concept, you know? Yeah. Like individual ones, they're
not very well thought out as like a general blueprint, you know?
Yeah. There's just so much nuance missing, and they don't ever because life is so easy for them, they never have to, you know, like ponder their existence.
Bro, there's so many texts I've had to compose because it's so dumb. I'm like, you cannot tell a woman this. Like, this is not okay for you to say.
Would you rather, would you rather, would you rather? Let's play a game of Would You Rather.
Rush Limbaugh and Ted Cruz both recently went south. One to the afterlife and one to Mexico. Would you rather have to get a couple's cabana massage in Cancun with Ted Cruz, or host a podcast in hell with Rush Limbaugh?
I would say the couple's massage, because then I wouldn't have to touch him, and he would have to be quiet, because you're supposed to be quiet during massages. But if I was in hell with Rush Limbaugh on a podcast, that man would not shut up. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I would get anything in. So I feel like it's quiet. We're in the same room. We don't have to touch each other, look at each other, anything. I feel like the Ted Cruz thing is better. Although I would like to go to hell to see all my queer friends that everybody tells me is there.
I don't think they're there.
I know, I'm kidding. They're not actually there.
Even if I had to like touch Ted Cruz, like rub him all up in this massage, I think I would still pick that because,
Ooh.
it's like I think I can like kind of more like dissociate from the experience while it's happening. And
I like how we're just like prepping ourselves for hypothetical trauma.
yeah, and at least I get something out of it. Like I get a massage in Mexico. Like that sounds nice.
That does sound nice.
The number of times I've talked about Ted Cruz in this podcast is like too many to count, but it's just because he continues to do extremely dumb shit. Like he's just so irritating, especially on the internet. Like he is so annoying on the internet too.
Let's see how many. It's wild to me just like how many followers these people have from being politicians. Yeah, he has 4.3 million followers, and I'm like, he's known for being an idiot. Like he's not known for doing his job. He's just like trying to bully good people who are smarter than him and can clap back harder.
Mhm.
Like it's just sad, honestly. But it's wild that that's like he has that platform and he's just like fumbling around with it.
Ted Cruz is gonna be that dumb. I want him to be like a little bit like sillier with it.
As soon as Trump was banned, I did not think of him again. Like in terms of like the Twitter stuff, it was just out of sight, out of mind. It felt good. It definitely was like a little bit harder to know what to get information on what was going on because he just would dominate the news cycle, whatever dumb shit he tweeted. So I understand that in that like that flurry of like everybody is talking about what Trump said right now, but now people are talking about like 10 different things, right?
Yeah. I keep forgetting that he's not the president anymore.
Yeah, because
Things don't
like,
feel that different. So.
Yeah, that's true. We're still in here.
Student
Student debt still isn't canceled because Biden won't fucking cancel it.
It's no stimulus, no student debt cancellation, no hanging out there because we're all getting shot up with the vaccine. You know, it's still like it was. And so
Still indeed.
You know, and there's all these fucking crazies.
There are things, I do think that some things are like a little bit better for some people and there's like a little bit more hope, but in general, it's like there are very specific things that we demanded and we're told we're going to happen and they're not happening. And it's not like I didn't expect it to, but I think it's still better than, I think there's still like, even if they're not doing all the right things, like it feels like they were just like with Trump in office, it was just like more of a shit show than anything. And so it was like more unpredictable what the system was going to give us. Whereas like now it's a little bit more back to like, you know how they're like back to the normal. I'm like, yeah, back to like the normal shitty system, but at least we're like able to kind of like predict it a little bit better.
It used to be chaos and now it's just like the DMV, like not fun, but there's a system of the way things go and you go through all the stations and,
it's still terrible, but it's a terrible we're used to, I guess. I don't know.
So Disney just released a trailer for Cruella starring Emma Stone, which is like the backstory of Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. So I want to know if you had to have one of these two as a roommate, would you rather have Cruella de Vil or the Joker as your roommate?
Bro, okay. I know I just said it's like we're going back to like predictable like things and that's seemed to be better. But I think having the Joker as a roommate would be like an experience. I feel like Cruella de Vil is just like, yeah, she's more predictable. She wants to make a fucking coat. We get it. You love coats. You're like some rich lady. You like killing puppies. We understand. Also, I have a dog. So that would be a little bit, I'd have to be around all the time, you know, watching this dog. I feel like having the Joker, it's like, is there going to be a smoke bomb in the bathroom? I don't know. You know, like, are there going to be like henchmen when I come home one night, just like hanging from the ceiling? Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And that's, it's going to be insane. But I just for a little bit, maybe if he sublet, like that would be fun. Like I would have stories from it, you know?
Yeah, I agree that I think in the short term, the Joker is a better option than Cruella de Vil. I think the Joker like would keep his business out of the home a little bit.
Do you think he's like really chill? He's just like a normal roommate at home.
Like he just,
hey, you know, we're out of milk.
He lights up a joint. He lights up a joint. He's like, see you later. And you don't see him for 3 days. And you're like, where did he go?
Like, what? There's a boat exploding.
Whereas like, I think Cruella de Vil would like bring dead puppies home. And I don't really.
But also, I feel like she would have like a lot of like makeup and furs and stuff you could borrow. I feel like that would be good for you.
Yeah, but
maybe like not the furs, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like she's like Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada. Like she would, like, you can maybe like borrow borrow her clothes and stuff when she's not looking. She might want to skin you later, but like,
Yeah. I think I'd be so on edge. I think that the Joker is like probably like, I don't think that he would hate me as much in terms of like, I think that it's just like, that's the person that I live with and I just do not care about you.
Yeah.
Whereas like Cruella would be like plotting my demise from day one.
I feel like I could fucking take Cruella. Like, what am I, like, I'm not scared of that bitch. I'll knock her over. She'll, you know, how she was so tiny. I could take her. I feel like the Joker would have like 12 I'd be like hanging upside down as soon as I entered my apartment.
I just think he'd be more
fun, I think.
Yeah. You know,
I agree with you.
And you're like,
also like, you'd have more friends like through him, right? Like he, like all of the people he like has collabed with, Harley Quinn would come over and maybe you guys could hang out, you know, and talk about boys. She'd be talking about him, but like, you know, he's got more fun stuff going on. And I feel like I do feel like he would be very particular about how stuff is at home because his whole like his lair is like so thought out.
I think that I could live by someone else's rules. I just think I think he would be less imposing of like a kind of a personality. Like like Cruella would want me to get involved probably, and I would not want to.
She'd be like, "You never skin puppies with me anymore."
It's like I came here expecting a bestie, and that's like not what you're doing, and it's just like really fucking mean, and like it's just like you're just mean girling me right now, and like if you love me, if you care about me, then like you will let me skin your dog.
Yeah, she's like, you never like invite me to the zoo with you anymore. You never like you're going out without me. Yeah, she'd definitely be very like codependent. I feel like I think he would be a lot of fun. And also would like if you ever like I feel like your rent would be paid, you know. He would disappear for like months at a time because he's in the asylum, but like he would be robbing shit for he would just throw a casual grand on the table.
He would go missing for a while. And it's like, I just get to live alone and chill like for a while. And I'm sure like sometimes I'd be like going out of town for 3 weeks. Like, I'm like, okay, time to have a party.
Yeah.
Like, I think that he'd be way more mysterious and less like trying to get me involved in his shit.
But then, what I was going to say, he would have like the loudest sex with Harley Quinn. Like it would be so like, that would be the part I'd be like, okay.
See, I can deal with that though. That stuff doesn't really bother me. Like, I'm like, yay, cool. Good for you. You know? So I don't think I care that much about that.
Can you imagine his like laugh waking you up in the morning? Like the Batman animated series laugh.
My freshman year roommate had sex in the bed next to me while I was asleep. So I don't.
Oh my God. I feel like the Joker would not be in your bed like that.
No. But
he's
like hearing him have sex loudly in another room, like that's nothing to me. So I get noise canceling headphones. I just vibe.
Truth or dare?
Truth or dare, Pallavi?
Oh my God. Truth.
What's the most ridiculous reason that you have either like ended a relationship with someone or stopped pursuing them? Like the dumbest reason.
Dumbest reason. Oh my God. I'm going to have to think on this one. It is not like with a relationship.
It doesn't have to be like a relationship.
There's sometimes just like fleeting attractions or whatever, like, especially with men, cishet men, as we were saying, there were some times where they just like, I'm like super attracted to them. I like them. And I just see them like tell a joke or something. And it's like really bad. And you're just like, nope, shut it down. I can't, this isn't good. This is not good for me. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that's a bad reason, but I think it's like, it's funny how quickly it can turn for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm like, no.
There's like kind of like a tipping point where at that point it's not going to turn anymore. But before that, it's like, you better not be. Yeah.
I call a lot of those glass shattering moments. And they're the moments where you just don't feel it anymore. But then also there are moments where like somebody says something like racist for the first time, like that you just like you thought they were friends or something, or like they, you know, say something misogynist, or they have some like sort of worldview that just like doesn't vibe with you. And it's just like you're just like shocked. You're just like, oh my God, you believe that? Like how we thought we were besties, like new besties or whatever. And then like that shit happens and you're like, well, this is all turn this shit around, not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see that when I posted that tweet of that guy who I went on one date with and he texted me?
I think so, but I can't remember.
It was like one of my last like dating app dates before quarantine. It was actually Valentine's Day weekend. I think it was the day after Valentine's Day. So about exactly a year ago, it was a very horrible date. I just never texted him back after it. And then he texted me like a bit ago. I think I had like 15,000 Twitter followers at the time. He texted me and was like, I saw your tweet, whatever. Like, I have been bragging, like, you're my first real brush with the celebrity, but like, you're not verified though. Ouch. And then he was like, I'm in a relationship now. Like, obviously nothing went anywhere. Like, blah, blah, blah. He just texted me this thing. And I was like, ew, like, why are you doing this?
Why are you talking to me right now?
I was like, I didn't reply to your text. Like, this is embarrassing for you. And then I posted the tweet screenshot. I posted a screenshot of the text in a tweet. And some girl messaged me being like, I know this guy. Like, I was the one who sent him your tweet. He's not actually in a relationship.
Oh my
like, God.
That is so sad.
I don't know. Like, these men are so, like, they're just so cringe.
Yeah. Okay, truth or dare?
I'll do truth.
Okay. The dare would have been fun. But what is like, I don't want to say like something that could get you canceled because I don't want you to be canceled, but what is like a moment that like embarrasses you a lot of like a way you thought or something you said or did that you feel like you've grown from?
This is like kind of basic, I think, but I was just like a big like Obama stan. Like, I was just a huge neoliberal for some time. And I think that a lot of people have had that phase.
But you were like 12 when that happened.
No. I mean, like when I got to college, like when he was leaving office, I was in the Facebook group Pantsuit Nation.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's bad. But I was in like Facebook group Pantsuit Nation. I saw Obama gave his farewell address in Chicago. I had like, there's pictures of me in like Obama t-shirt. I was like, I voted for Hillary Clinton, like Hill, yes, in 2016. And then quickly, I came back from that, but that was like a thing that was happening. I recently tried to look through my old tweets to see if there's anything I said that I was like really not proud of or anything like that. It's mostly just like, I thought everyone cared about everything I ever thought, you know? It's like they don't, you know, like I'm not going to.
Good. That's not like harmful to other people, you know?
Yeah, but it's very self-obsessed view of the world. I was like, people are really going to care that I had this salad for lunch today, but like I thought that the radishes on it tasted kind of weird. I tweeted once like, the Stairmaster stinks. Like whoever was on it before like was definitely sweaty, and this was like 2018.
It was definitely sweaty.
Like
that's so funny.
Wasn't that long ago.
Let's find that tweet and make it go viral, folks. Come on. Retweet the sweaty treadmill tweet.
Christopher has retweeted it before. There's also one of me just tweeting. I just said smack dat, like smack dat,
so
all
funny.
on the floor, smack dat. I just tweeted smack dat, and he like retweets it every month.
That's cute. I love that.
But yeah, so I think
that's good. That's not too bad.
I have a few friends where we kind of like sometimes like to write jokes for each other. So like we can't make the joke ourselves, but make it for someone else. Like, you know, and like I heard white people give me brown jokes that I've tweeted and like I've given. Yeah.
No, I definitely have shit that I would have been canceled for in college, and like racist shit and sexist shit and like all, you know, there were tweets that I was ashamed of that I like deleted. But it's, it's definitely like, if anything came up again, I'd be like, yeah, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's one thing that I don't understand is like people like Kevin Hart had stuff come up and he was like, how many times do I have to apologize for this? Like as many times as you have to.
Yeah.
That's like, I was ignorant about like caste system shit, like in January, and I'll apologize for that as many times as I have to, you know what I mean? Like, cause it's a shitty thing that we said or did. And it's like, it's not hurting me to apologize.
Yeah.
You know,
it's also like not, if you really have grown and moved on, then you will feel bad and want to apologize.
Yeah.
You know?
It feels good to acknowledge the shit that you did and take ownership of it.
Yeah. Oh, one thing that's actually kind of embarrassing is that I don't know if you remember this news story, but there was a book that was about like gay penguins and people were mad that it was being read in school. Yeah. So I think I was in late elementary school, maybe early middle school at the time. And I think it was like maybe like a year or two before I started like having like questioning that. Yeah. But I was like, why are they making kids read that in school? Like, that's so like,
oh, really?
I was like that. And my literal parents were like, that's like, you need to calm down. Like, that is not that weird.
My God. Wow.
And I was like interested, like, it was interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know what makes people like that. Like, because my brother's great now, but he and I like we went to the same schools and everything. But I was like immediately like gay straight alliance, like everything's fine. Like it's weird that people are homophobic, like whatever. And he had like more of like a growth towards that, like over time. And we grew up in Utah, and we grew up in an immigrant Indian family that, you know, like that generation thought a certain way about things, you know? But like my parents are like, they also have grown a lot, which has given me like hope of being able to continue to do that when I'm older too, you know?
Totally.
But it was weird. I was immediately like, no, this is like fucked up the way people are talking about gay people. But I don't know like what in it, because we're all children. Like I would not blame, like at the time you were a child, like I would not blame you for the shit, like the little AOC girl, like that conservatives are touting or whatever, like that's being, she's being manipulated and used by her family to like shit on AOC. Like I'm not blaming the child for doing that.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting, like what in a kid makes them say or do, you know, certain things like that.
The reason that I came around on gay people was because I
can we make that be the soundbite for the episode?
The reason that I came around on gay people.
Yams saying the reason that I came around on gay people. You went all the way around, girl.
The reason that I came around was because I was obsessed with American Idol as a kid, and Adam Lambert, the season that he was on, I was obsessed with him. And then there was everyone was like so mad because they found out he was gay, and everyone was like, that's like, there's a huge controversy. And I was like, how dare you? Like, he's still an amazing, incredible, talented person. And like, you're like writing him off because he loves men. Like, how dare you? And then I became a crusader from that point on. And
if only those penguins could have sung, you know what I mean? Like maybe that would
if they could have sang and had like guy liner, I would have been.
You would have been like, these penguins need to be read in every school.
And I was so obsessed with him, and I think that's what like I was in love with him, but a little bit. But I also really was like, oh, like that's cool. It's cool to be gay. It's cool.
Yeah. See, that's the representation thing. It affected you directly.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just, that was an embarrassing time. I remember my parents and my best friend, who was like a year and a half younger than me, they both were like, this is weird. Like, why do you care so much about this? And I was like, interesting. Like, why did I care so much about that? But
it just like drop off. And then later you were like, oh yeah, I had that weird opinion. Or
yeah, it went away pretty fast. I think it's just like kids in school, like it was on Prop 8 was going around also. And I think it was just like a huge like moment in time where like California was just really talking about like gay rights. And I think that there were just people around me that were like anti it. And so I just like listened to them or whatever. And yeah, like I remember having a friend who like, I like made a joke once. I was like, haha, we're in love. And she was like, no, I'm Christian and like being gay would be really bad. And I was like, I didn't mean like that. But
I still have like, I've on a podcast episode one time, I was like joking that some celebrity was queer. And then someone who was on it with me was like, no, don't joke about that. And I was like, it's a joke. Like, it doesn't matter. And they were like, yeah, well, that celebrity might get mad at us. And I was like, well, then that's their problem if they have such an issue with being queer. Like, why? It's not an insult.
Yeah.
None of this is insulting. Like, and it's like wild to me that that's still like a trigger for people.
It's a compliment from me.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you're like not boring and fun and like empathetic. Like, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Truth or dare?
Oh, I'm gonna say dare, but I might bitch out on it just because I want to be fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm not. They're not going to be. They're not like bad. Okay. Do you have like an object that's currently to the left of you? Some sort of like an inanimate object.
Phone. I have my phone. I have a lamp.
Okay. The lamp. The lamp. The lamp. Okay.
Okay.
God, so bright. I want you to perform a slam poem dedicated to that lamp.
To the oh no. This is so embarrassing. I changed my answer to the question I asked you. This is the most embarrassing cancelable moment. That's a good one. I can't even. It's so hard because I know the words I'm gonna say. It's gonna make me crack. I can't do it. Lamp of my life. I can't. Yeah. The light you shine lights up my room, giving me comfort, giving me the ability to read, giving my dog the ability to not fall off the bed. Oh, lamp. The strength. You cascade in my life, underappreciated, unloved, but necessary lamp of my life. Thank you.
Wow, that was really
Thank you
touching.
so much. I love my lamp now, you know? It just feels like
That brought you closer to it.
yeah, I feel like I had that moment where I was like, Marie Kondo, does this bring me joy? And now I love my lamp. I'm not afraid to say it. I love my lamp. This is the moment I got turned around on lamps. I came around to lamps on your episode of this podcast.
I'm so glad I was able to do that for you and your lamp. It was a cute lamp.
It's cute. Yeah. I inherited it from a roommate and I don't know this lamp story, you know, It's probably had a long ass lamp life.
You'll create your own story, you and the lamp.
Yeah, we're making memories together. Yeah. Wow. I've been in quarantine too long.
Yeah.
What if I'm the Joker this whole time? I'm the Joker roommate. I'm the one doing weird shit in the living room, talking to no one all the time for auditions. This might be bad for your current relationship, but I'm going to pretend like I don't know Christopher to ask this. Is there someone you regret not dating? Oh my God.
You didn't ask me truth or dare.
I didn't ask you truth or dare. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Why didn't I ask you that? Well, truth or dare?
I guess I'll say truth because I already know the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess there is from a long time ago, but not from recently. Not regret, but like there was this guy who I was hooking up with for a while and I really liked him and we got along great and whatever, but he moved like weeks into us seeing each other. We stayed in touch, like we're still friends. I think that like it probably would have been good, but I don't feel like I'm really hugely missing out on something. I feel like most of the time I like follow my heart. So I don't really have those kinds of regrets, but you know,
I'm a hermit robot. So I'm always like, I never regret not dating someone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I always regret dating someone.
Yeah.
I never regret not dating them. I'm like, whoa, like I see their glass shattering moment from afar. I'm like, oh, this is over for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in this. And at some point it'll happen. And then I
feel like the only reason why I have that is that one person is because like that he wasn't around long enough for me to have this like, it was like this just nice little few week, good memory.
Yeah.
Truth or dare?
Truth. I can't sing to a lamp again. I'm sorry.
No.
I was trying to be fun and like cool. And then I made me into a slam poet. All right.
What was the worst encounter you've had with a celebrity or like celebrity adjacent person?
Before I started stand-up, I was a huge comedy nerd and I listened to so many podcasts and I knew where every comedian was from. I watched all the specials. I like watched all the TV shows. I watched late night, I watched everything. And I went to my boyfriend at the time was an improviser and he got into SF Sketchfest. And because of the video that I recorded of his improv team, you're welcome. And then we went to the performer parties. And this was the night before I did my first open mic ever. And it's because I was surrounded by all these, I went to this VIP party. I was surrounded by all these comedians that I had heard about on this podcast. And I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible. And one of the first, I don't think this is like the worst encounter, but it sticks out in my mind because it was comedy and because it was like such an incredible moment for me the night before my first open mic. I turned and he was there and I was like, I'm so like, I love your comedy. You're just so entertaining on stage. And he was like, that's the point. And I felt like a fucking idiot. And I was like, I'm never talking to a celebrity again. I had to show Thomas Middleditch where the bathroom was, but I was like, I'm never talking to a celebrity again. I feel so ashamed. Like, I feel like I was just a fan of his and it made me feel like an idiot because it was like the VIP party and I was supposed to be cool or whatever. And it just didn't feel good. But then like Todd Barry roasted me and I saw all these other comics that I like knew from like movies and TV shows and stand up. And I talked to like the local stand-ups that I met and got along with really well there. And then they told me where they went for stand-up. And the next night I did an open mic, my first open mic. And then I went to another performer party and John Hodgman and I were like fucking up a ping pong game together of somebody else's. And I was telling him about my first open mic experience. And then I made Paul F. Tompkins laugh about pizza or something. And I was like back on top. But it was one of those moments. It just sticks out to me because I'm just like, I'm kind of a bitch with like men sometimes because they're like creepy or whatever. But like, I was just like, you're great or whatever. And I'm like, there's no need to, shut somebody down. Truth or dare?
Dare.
I want you to write a tweet right now about your love for Tommy Lahren.
I'm gonna get canceled again.
I know,
Okay.
but you've done it before, but I think you didn't have as many followers, but I think it doesn't have to be anything specific.
My pinned video though has reference right now to my Tommy Lahren thing.
Okay.
But people like, because that's obviously a joke though, because I'm doing stand-up, you know. This is like okay, what do I say? Piercing blue eyes, luscious blonde hair, passion in her voice,
Oh my God, you're going in.
just doesn't care. I'm writing a poem almost. If you come after her, she will fight back. She's strong enough to get you, and she will attack. And then I'm going to write a poem about Tommy Lahren.
So I
don't
also
know.
made you do slam poetry by accident.
Yeah. Okay, I'll read it out loud. Piercing blue eyes, luscious blonde hair, passion in her voice, she just doesn't care. If you come after her, she will fight back. She's strong enough to get you, and she will attack. A poem about Tommy Lahren. And I did heart emojis.
We're gonna get these in like a group chat. And somebody's gonna be like, yams. And I'm gonna be like, I don't know why she did that.
Well, I'll send them this soundbite.
I'm sending this to the group chat being like, look in the group chat we're in together. I was like, oh my God, yams, why? Someone said you thumbs down it. Okay.
I thumbs down it, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I tweeted a joke about Rush Limbaugh dying, and today I tweeted love for Tommy Lahren. So, you know, I got range.
Yeah, you got range. I feel like your following like really loves you. I feel like people, okay, I know you have like a lot of hate follows. I do too. But I feel like when people are in your replies coming after you, like that time that you got retweeted for your Biden Kamala tweet, there were a lot of people in the replies that were like, she's clearly a leftist. Like you guys are just doing this to like get clout or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely have those people, and I love them. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
thank you. This is fun.
It was such a blast.
Yes.
Do you have any closing thoughts you would like to share?
Men, why? Just don't. Also stop. Is that good enough?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
A beautiful message.
Thanks so much for joining our pillow fight. See you next time. Pillow Fight is a production by me, Yamini Nambimadom, with music by Greer Baxter. Thanks for listening.